I'm Alwyn Moran from Cogni Kids here in Dublin, Ireland. 3 years into actually manufacturing, we have learned a huge amount from the design process right through to having finished product on shelves. So when we started, we had no clue. We'd never dealt with a factory before, so we didn't even know the lingo. So we had to learn what tech pack, spec pack, and all these different kind of things meant. So now what we've done is I've created a small little design team. So there's 2 guys in our design team here and myself. And what we do is we tend to come up with our ideas and the functionality. We look at kind of what we wanted to do and why, what developmental aspects, because that guides us on absolutely everything we do in our company. And then we come up with designs. We use a 3D printer in-house, so we do kind of rough 3D prints of original prototypes. We tend to then give out these 3D prototypes to focus groups and get some feedback. We modify our designs then accordingly. We will again then 3D print them here, double check that everything is right, and then we'll actually send the CAD files to our manufacturers. We use a number of different factories, and oftentimes even for one product we may have 3 different factories working together to actually get the product on the shelf. So an example of that would actually be we have a sensory teething bib, and so we have a factory who does our fabric for us. We have a separate factory that does our medical grade silicone chew piece, and then we have a separate factory that actually does the packaging. And so it's very complicated trying to get all 3 to be on the same page and working on the same timeline and the same schedule so that we can actually get a product on the shelves in a timely manner for our own retailers. So that in itself is a bit of a skill in trying to coordinate that. We can tend to have a little bit of upset sometimes if somebody's running late in their own factory, so then it has a massive knock-on effect, and then it means that we're ex-factory late, which means that it's late to our retailers, and we never want stuff like that to happen. But that is the reality. While we do and use our best endeavours to make sure that everything flows correctly and we try to give enough time, sometimes stuff that we have absolutely no control of, which is really frustrating actually, because I am a bit OCD and I definitely love to control things. So that's very much out of your comfort zone. That does happen, and there's nothing, we've just got to learn to roll with it. We ourselves now have learned that we need to become very solution focused and figure out how we can actually kind of I suppose minimise the effect and the impact on stuff ex-factories. When we were developing our bottle gripper, this is really complex design. It's very, very complicated actually, and a number of factories wouldn't actually work with us. So we chose a factory in the UK to work with us so that it would be close, because obviously we were designing this, prototyping it, focus grouping it and so on for about 18 months. And this was something that was very close to our heart. So we wanted to make sure that we could control this as much as possible. And even with that, we had 2 different factories, because we have a different packaging factory and we have this factory here, and then obviously we have our logistic companies as well. But to really get this product manufactured was a nightmare, and we are a significant number of months behind on this also. So I think kind of we've learned a lot of lessons in the whole manufacturing process. A lot of the time, when you go to a retailer with a timeline and they're like, okay, that's great, but then you have to come back and reschedule it. A lot of the time, retailers will actually tell you, that's fine, it happens. It even happens to the bigger guys, the bigger brands, those who are in business a long time. So that does make me feel a bit better, that it's not necessarily something that I have done or haven't done that have impacted it, that it tends to be par for the course in this industry. But then other times you've got, some of the larger retailers, and they can't take that delay, because you've got to understand that if they have an empty shelf, they're not making money, and they have huge overheads and they need to be making money. So it's kind of what I've learned over the last while is putting myself into other people's shoes and seeing the impact and understanding that it's nothing personal. It's not that they don't want our product, it's not that they don't want to work with us, but it's that they themselves are responsible to their owners or their managers They have their targets that they have to hit. They have to make every inch on their shelves make money. And so then they just can't take a risk if we continually are kind of rescheduling. So that's something that we've learned, and we now work very hard to make sure that that doesn't happen.